Welcome to Stoic Vivu, where ancient wisdom meets modern life's demands. Picture this: evening descends on your city. Maybe you're Chloe, a graphic designer in a frantic New York City agency, the day's digital noise still echoing in your ears as you stare at a cooling takeout meal. Or perhaps you're Mark, an Austin-based startup founder, replaying every nuanced investor comment, the city's famed energy feeling a world away from your own internal stress. This end-of-day overwhelm where the mind refuses to power down is a familiar scene for many urban dwellers. We navigate a daily gauntlet of deadlines, a relentless barrage of information, and the constant pressure to keep pace, often leaving us feeling frayed and reactive. What if your evenings could be more than just a collapse into passive recovery? What if they could become an active period of strengthening, calming, and focusing? This is the promise of Stoicism. Over 2 millennia ago, thinkers in ancient Greece and Rome confronted their own eras of profound uncertainty, wars, plagues, and political strife. From these crucibles, they forged a philosophy not just for enduring hardship, but for genuinely flourishing. Stoicism offers a path to cultivate an inner sanctuary of peace and resilience, guiding us toward a life of virtue and meaning, irrespective of external chaos. The enduring power of Stoicism, especially today, lies in its profound practicality. It's not a collection of dusty, abstract theories. It's an actionable toolkit for navigating the complexities of your career, relationships, and your own thoughts. It teaches the critical skill of distinguishing what lies within our control from what doesn't, enabling us to find tranquility even when surrounded by turmoil and to channel our energies toward what truly matters. A highly effective method for weaving these potent principles into your daily life is through establishing specific nightly habits. Consider these your personal Stoic shutdown sequence. These aren't merely quaint rituals, they are deliberate, strategic practices designed to help you reflect on your day, learn from your experiences, and consciously prepare for what tomorrow may bring. The explicit goal is to make you more resilient against setbacks, demonstrably calmer when pressures escalate, and more sharply focused on your objectives even amidst the constant pull of modern distractions. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca astutely observed, "Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future." This ancient wisdom resonates deeply in our fast-paced, often future-fixated society, doesn't it? Urban existence, with its relentless pace, can easily cause us to lose touch with the valuable lessons of yesterday and the richness of the present moment, all while cultivating anxiety about what looms ahead. These Stoic nightly habits serve as your anchor. They're your dedicated moments to counteract that forgetfulness, to ground yourself firmly in the now, and to build an inner fortitude that loosens the grip of future worries. In this video, we will explore 7 such Stoic habits, simple yet profoundly transformative practices you can integrate into your evenings. This is about transforming your nights from a period of lingering stress into a powerful opportunity for personal growth and genuine renewal, taking back control one evening at a time. Before we begin, consider this your first act of applied Stoicism, the virtue of focused persistence. And if you're committed to arming yourself with this timeless wisdom, subscribe to Stoic Vivu. Are you ready to see how these ancient practices can reshape your nights and, by extension, your days? Let's start. 1. Stoic Nightly Review. Beat tomorrow's stress today. The first and arguably most foundational nightly Stoic habit is the practice of reviewing your day. Think of it as your personal end-of-day debrief, a golden opportunity not just to unwind, but to actively become a better version of yourself before you even close your eyes. It's a chance to consciously look back at the hours that have just passed, how you lived, how you acted, how you responded to the city's relentless tests, and, crucially, how you might have grown even in small ways. Let's be clear, this isn't about harsh self-judgment or replaying your cringe reel of the day's missteps. This isn't an invitation to beat yourself up over that slightly awkward comment in the team meeting or the frustration you felt when your subway line was inevitably delayed. Instead, imagine you're like Sarah, a young lawyer in Chicago who used to end her days feeling like a whirlwind of stress, replaying every case detail and potential mistake. Now, she dedicates 10 minutes before bed, not to criticize, but to learn. This is a time for honest, compassionate assessment, a space to extract valuable lessons from your experiences and to genuinely celebrate your successes, no matter how minor they might seem. This powerful habit was championed by Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers. He detailed his own practice, writing, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, aware of this habit that's now mine, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by." Seneca understood that this nightly audit was essential for self-improvement. By meticulously reviewing his actions and thoughts, he could objectively evaluate how consistently he had adhered to the core Stoic virtues: wisdom, making sound judgments; justice, acting fairly and with integrity towards others; courage, facing challenges and discomfort with fortitude; and self-control, managing his impulses and emotions. He wasn't just looking for faults, he was also cultivating gratitude for the things that went well, for moments of connection or small victories. And, importantly, he was practicing forgiveness for himself, for his shortcomings, and for others who might have caused him frustration. Imagine David, a project manager in Seattle, often overwhelmed by team dynamics and tight deadlines. By adopting a similar review, David starts to see patterns. He notices when he communicates most effectively and when stress leads him to be curt. This allows him to forgive himself for imperfect interactions and plan to approach similar situations more skillfully next time. Through this consistent practice, Seneca believed he could steadily improve his character, enhance his overall happiness, and amplify his positive impact on the world. And the incredible thing is, so can you. So, how do you put this into practice in your busy urban life? It doesn't require hours of meditation or complex philosophical treatises. All you need is a few quiet moments and a willingness to ask yourself some simple yet profound questions. For instance, what did I do well today? This could be as simple as I patiently listened to a colleague vent even though I was busy, or I stuck to my workout plan despite feeling tired after work, or I navigated a difficult conversation with my landlord calmly. Acknowledge these wins. What did I do poorly, or could I have handled better? Again, honesty without harshness. I snapped at the barista because my coffee order was wrong, that wasn't necessary. Or, I procrastinated on that important report for an hour by scrolling through social media. Or, I let fear of judgment stop me from sharing an idea in the brainstorming session. What did I learn today? This could be a new skill, an insight about yourself, a better understanding of a colleague, or even a lesson from a mistake. I learned that taking a 5-minute walk when I feel overwhelmed actually boosts my productivity. How can I use what I learned today to improve tomorrow? This is where the review becomes actively forward-looking. Tomorrow, if I feel that same frustration rising, I'll try taking a deep breath before responding. Or, I'll block out specific time for that report and put my phone in another room. These questions are your compass. They help you identify your strengths so you can leverage them and your weaknesses so you can address them. They illuminate your achievements, no matter how small, fostering a sense of progress, and they reframe your mistakes not as failures, but as invaluable lessons and opportunities for growth. This process helps you to truly appreciate what you have, the resilience you showed, the kindness you extended, the effort you put in, and to clarify what you aspire to, guiding your actions for the following day. You become more deeply aware of yourself, your triggers, your values, and how closely your actions are aligning with the person you want to be. The cumulative effect? You become more resilient because you're learning from adversity. You become calmer because you're processing your day rather than letting anxieties fester. And you become more focused because you're clarifying your intentions. But here's a crucial tip from modern Stoics and ancient ones alike. Don't just ask these questions in your head. Write them down. The act of writing makes your reflections more concrete, more memorable, and far more actionable. It transforms fleeting thoughts into tangible insights. Whether you use a dedicated journal, a simple notebook, or even a notes app on your phone, though try to avoid getting sucked back into the digital vortex right before sleep. The key is consistency. Think of someone like Maria, a teacher in Boston who started keeping a Stoic nightly log. Initially, it felt a bit forced, but soon she found it becoming a cherished ritual. Looking back over her entries, she can see her progress, recognize recurring challenges, and witness her own growth in handling classroom stress or demanding parents. This written record becomes a powerful testament to your journey. So, don't let another day blur into the next without extracting its wisdom. Start tonight. Take those few minutes. Review your day. Ask the questions. Write down your insights. It's a simple act, but one that compounds over time, forging a stronger, more stoic you, ready to not just face, but to master the challenges of tomorrow. This isn't just about ending your day, it's about consciously designing a better one to follow. 2. Memento Mori. Use your last day to live fully now. The second nightly habit we're exploring might sound a bit intense, perhaps even a little morbid at first, but stick with me because it's one of the most profoundly liberating and motivating practices in the Stoic toolkit. Meditate on your mortality. Every night, before you drift into sleep, you have a rare and powerful opportunity to awaken your soul and ignite a deeper passion for living by consciously confronting the ultimate reality of life. That it is finite, that one day it will end. Now, in our modern, often death-denying culture, particularly in bustling cities where the pulse of life feels so immediate and never-ending, this can seem like a scary, even unwelcome, thought. We're conditioned to chase perpetual youth, to avoid unpleasant realities, to fill every moment with distraction. But the ancient Stoics, individuals renowned for their fearlessness and profound wisdom, saw it differently. They understood that death is an inevitable and unpredictable part of the human condition. It's not something to be feared or obsessively avoided, but rather something to be acknowledged with courage, dignity, and a clear-eyed acceptance. More than that, they recognized that a regular, calm contemplation of our own mortality can be an incredible source of motivation and inspiration. It serves as a stark, clarifying reminder that our time here is limited and therefore incredibly precious. It jolts us out of complacency and compels us to question how we're spending these fleeting moments. Are we investing them in what truly matters, or are we squandering them on trivial pursuits, petty grievances, or paralyzing fears? One powerful Stoic technique for this nightly meditation is called Memento Mori, a Latin phrase meaning, remember that you will die. It's not about dwelling on the darkness of death, but about using the awareness of it to illuminate your life. So, how can you practice Memento Mori in your apartment in, say, San Francisco with the sound of the foghorns in the distance? You can begin by simply imagining, just for a few moments, that this particular night is your very last on Earth. As you lie there, consider asking yourself some potent questions. If I knew with certainty that I was not going to wake up tomorrow, how would I feel about the life I've lived up to this point? Allow yourself to genuinely explore this. What emotions surface? What would I deeply regret not having done, not having said, or not having pursued? This isn't about creating a list of failures, but about identifying what truly holds meaning for you, what your heart yearns for. Perhaps it's mending a fractured relationship, finally starting that creative project you've always dreamed of, or expressing your love and appreciation more openly to the people who matter. Let's say Michael, an architect in Denver who always puts work first, practices this. He might realize his deepest regret would be not spending enough quality time with his aging parents. This realization can then fuel a change in his priorities now. What would I be most proud of? What moments of joy, acts of kindness, or personal achievements would I cherish and be truly grateful for? This helps to bring your values into sharp focus and to appreciate the good that is already present in your life. These aren't easy questions, and they might stir up a range of emotions. That's okay. The point is not to distress yourself, but to use this powerful thought experiment to gain profound perspective. Suddenly, the argument you had with a colleague over a minor issue, or the anxiety about whether your social media post got enough likes, or the relentless pursuit of a slightly bigger apartment, might shrink in significance when viewed against the backdrop of your entire existence. Memento Mori helps you to cut through the noise and distractions of daily city life and to prioritize what is truly essential. It guides you to live each day with a greater sense of urgency and purpose, almost as if it were your last, not in a reckless way, but in a deeply appreciative and intentional one. When you regularly contemplate your mortality, you start to appreciate the small things more: the taste of your morning coffee, a genuine smile from a stranger on the crowded sidewalk, the comfort of your bed after a long day. You become more motivated to pursue what genuinely enriches your life and aligns with your deepest values, rather than just chasing external validation or societal expectations. You might find yourself more inclined to express your love and gratitude, to forgive more easily, to take those calculated risks that lead to growth, and to work more diligently towards fulfilling your unique purpose. The overall effect, as the Stoics knew, is an increase in resilience, a deepening of calm, and a sharpening of focus. You become less afraid of petty losses because you're anchored by a larger perspective. But here's a crucial element of this practice. Don't just ask these questions intellectually. Feel them. Allow yourself to connect with the emotions that arise. As you imagine this being your last night, truly try to feel the potential sadness of goodbyes, the joy of cherished memories, the twinge of fear, and the warmth of gratitude. Let these feelings wash over you, not to be overwhelmed by them, but to experience them, to learn from them. This emotional engagement is what makes the practice transformative rather than just a mental exercise. Feel it in your heart, in your gut, in your bones. By allowing yourself to touch these deep emotions every night, even briefly, you create a powerful internal shift. It's like regularly recalibrating your inner compass to point towards true north, a life lived with meaning, courage, and appreciation. This isn't about becoming morbidly obsessed with death. Quite the opposite. It's about using the unavoidable reality of death as a tool to live more fully, more vibrantly, more authentically right now. For someone like Lena, a journalist in Washington, D.C., constantly chasing the next big story, Memento Mori helps her pause and ask if the pursuit is aligning with her core values, or if she's sacrificing too much of her present well-being for future accolades that death could render meaningless. It helps her to make every day, every interaction, every choice count just a little bit more. So tonight, try it. Meditate on your mortality, not to invite fear, but to unlock a deeper, more courageous, and more grateful way of living. Make every day truly count. 3. Read Stoics. Marcus Aurelius. Find your inner peace tonight. After reflecting on your day and contemplating the preciousness of your time through Memento Mori, the third powerful nightly habit of a Stoic is to engage with the wisdom of those who have walked this path before you. Read some Stoic literature. Before you surrender to the realm of dreams, you have a remarkable chance to connect with some of the greatest minds in history, to learn directly from the ancient Stoics whose insights have shaped human thought and resilience for centuries. This isn't just an educational exercise. It's profoundly inspirational and deeply calming, a way to fortify your mind before sleep. Think about it. In a world saturated with fleeting social media updates, sensationalized news, and endless digital noise, dedicating even 10 to 15 minutes each night to timeless wisdom can be a radical act of self-care and intellectual nourishment. This habit was a cornerstone for many of the most influential and effective individuals throughout history. Consider Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, who, amidst the immense pressures of ruling an empire, wars, and personal loss, penned his Meditations. This wasn't a book written for publication. It was his personal journal, a collection of reflections on life, death, duty, virtue, and how to maintain inner peace in the face of immense external chaos. Imagine him late at night in his campaign tent, writing these thoughts down not just as an intellectual exercise, but as a practical guide for his own conduct and a way to reinforce his Stoic principles. Then there's Seneca, the statesman, playwright, and philosopher, whose letters from a Stoic offer incredibly practical advice on a vast range of human experiences: friendship, anger, happiness, grief, managing wealth, and coping with adversity. These weren't dry, academic discourses. They were personal letters to his friend Lucilius, filled with actionable wisdom that feels as relevant today in a high-rise apartment in Miami as it did in ancient Rome. Even figures like Nelson Mandela, during his long years of imprisonment, found solace and strength in the writings of Marcus Aurelius, demonstrating the enduring power of Stoic thought to sustain the human spirit even in the direst circumstances. You don't need to embark on a massive scholarly undertaking each night. The goal isn't to read entire books in one sitting or to become an academic expert. Far from it. Simply reading a few carefully chosen pages or even just a few insightful paragraphs that resonate with you can be incredibly effective. Let's say you're Alex, a software engineer in Silicon Valley, constantly battling imposter syndrome and the pressure of rapid innovation. Alex might find incredible solace and practical advice in a short passage from Epictetus's Enchiridion about focusing only on what's within his control, his effort, his learning, his responses, rather than the ever-shifting tech landscape or the opinions of his colleagues. You could choose to delve into Meditations and find a passage where Marcus Aurelius reminds himself to wake up and do his duty to mankind, even when he'd rather stay in bed, a sentiment many of us can relate to on a cold city morning. Or you might open Seneca's letters and read his advice on how to deal with anger, learning to pause and question your initial impressions before reacting, an invaluable skill when navigating rush hour traffic or a frustrating customer service call. Another approach is to select a few powerful Stoic quotes and use them as affirmations or mantras, repeating them to yourself as you wind down, allowing their wisdom to seep into your subconscious. For example, Epictetus's famous line, "We are disturbed not by events, but by the views which we take of them," can be a powerful nightly reminder to check your perceptions. By consistently engaging with Stoic literature before sleep, you achieve several important things. Firstly, you enrich your mind with valuable insights and timeless truths that can offer perspective on your own daily struggles. Secondly, you reinforce your understanding of Stoic beliefs and principles, making them more ingrained and accessible when you face challenges. Thirdly, you inspire yourself to act in accordance with these principles, to strive for virtue and resilience in your own life. You are, in essence, having a nightly conversation with some of the wisest mentors humanity has ever known. You begin to learn from the direct experiences and profound examples of these ancient philosophers who navigated immense hardships yet managed to maintain their composure, their rationality, and their commitment to living a good life. You can see how they applied these principles in their own lives, making the teachings less abstract and more applicable to your own situations. Whether that's dealing with a difficult boss in a downtown office, managing financial anxieties, or coping with the loneliness that can sometimes creep in even in a crowded city. You can then consciously try to apply their lessons and strategies to the obstacles and difficulties you encounter, making you more resilient, calmer, and more focused. But here's the crucial step, the one that elevates this habit beyond mere reading. Strive to live these books. Don't just let the words wash over you. Actively engage with them. Embody their teachings in your actions the next day. Practice the mental exercises they recommend. Follow their ethical guidelines. For instance, if you read Marcus Aurelius talking about treating others with kindness and understanding, make a conscious effort to do so in your interactions tomorrow, even with that particularly challenging colleague or the curt bus driver. If Seneca advises on preparing for potential misfortunes, a practice known as premeditatio malorum, take a few moments to calmly consider potential challenges for the next day and how you might respond with Stoic calm. By not just reading, but actively seeking to live the wisdom you encounter each night, you transform this habit from a passive intake of information into a dynamic process of self-cultivation. You are, in effect, apprenticing yourself to these great Stoic masters. This consistent nightly engagement with Stoic literature becomes a powerful catalyst for personal transformation, helping you to internalize the principles and gradually, thoughtfully, become more Stoic yourself. It's an investment in your character, your peace of mind, and your ability to navigate the complexities of modern life with ancient, time-tested wisdom. 4. Stoic detachment. Stop stressing about what you can't control. The fourth Stoic nightly habit we delve into is a cornerstone of Stoic practice, one that directly targets the anxiety and frustration so prevalent in our modern, high-pressure city lives. Detach from external things. This doesn't mean becoming unfeeling or apathetic, like a robot devoid of emotion. Rather, it's about fundamentally shifting your source of joy and sorrow, your sense of well-being, away from things that lie beyond your direct power. The Stoics were masters of understanding what they could control and what they couldn't, and this distinction is key to building a stress-proof mind. Think about how much of our daily agitation comes from externals. You're vying for a promotion at your competitive firm in, say, Boston, and your happiness hinges entirely on getting it. Or perhaps you're an artist in Brooklyn, and your self-worth plummets if your latest work doesn't receive widespread acclaim or a certain number of likes online. Maybe your peace of mind is shattered by someone else's opinion of you, a critical comment from your boss, or even just the unpredictable stock market performance affecting your savings. The Stoics recognize that anchoring our emotional state to these fleeting, unpredictable, and ultimately uncontrollable externals, things like wealth, fame, reputation, health to a large degree, and the actions or judgments of other people is a surefire recipe for a life of anxiety and disappointment. They understood a profound truth. The only domain where we have true, complete mastery is our own mind, our thoughts, our judgments, our choices, our will. Everything else, literally everything outside of our capacity to choose and respond, is subject to fate, fortune, and the complex interplay of countless factors far beyond our individual influence. External things themselves, the Stoics argued, are not inherently good or evil. Money isn't good or bad. It's just money. A negative comment isn't inherently devastating. It's just words. Their impact on us, their perceived goodness or badness, comes entirely from how we view them, how we interpret them, and how we choose to respond to them. This is an incredibly empowering realization. It means that while you can't always control what happens to you in your bustling city life, you can always control how you react. One of the most effective Stoic techniques for cultivating this healthy detachment and rising above the world is a practice often called negative visualization, or in classical terms, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This isn't about being a pessimist or morbidly dwelling on potential disasters. Instead, it's a calm, rational exercise done in advance to mentally prepare yourself for adversity and to reduce your attachment to things you currently possess or desire. You can do this nightly by taking a few moments to vividly envision potential worst-case scenarios related to things you value. For example, imagine you're Javier, living in a sleek apartment in downtown Miami with a view he loves. Practicing negative visualization, he might spend a few moments calmly imagining that he has lost his job and can no longer afford this apartment. He might picture himself having to move to a much smaller, less desirable place. Or consider Priya, a successful entrepreneur in Chicago who deeply values her company's reputation. She might visualize a scenario where a negative news story, perhaps unfounded, temporarily damages that reputation. The key is not to panic, but to then ask yourself some critical questions. If this loss, setback, criticism were to actually happen, how would I endure it? What inner resources could I call upon? Javier might realize he has friends he could stay with temporarily, or skills that would allow him to find new work. Priya might consider how she would calmly address the misinformation and focus on her team's resilience. How could I still find joy or meaning in my life even without this specific thing I value? Javier might see that his relationships and his passion for coding would remain, regardless of his address. Priya might recognize that her purpose in creating value for her customers would still drive her. How could I potentially grow from this experience, were it to occur? Losing the apartment might teach Javier about his own adaptability or the true value of non-material possessions. Facing a PR crisis might teach Priya new leadership skills and the importance of a strong internal culture. By regularly and calmly contemplating the potential loss of things you cherish, whether it's your job, your possessions, your health, or even the good opinion of others, you achieve several remarkable psychological benefits. Firstly, you significantly weaken your unhealthy attachment to these things and reduce your fear of losing them. The imagined loss often feels more manageable than the vague, undefined anxiety about potential future problems. Secondly, this practice dramatically increases your appreciation and gratitude for what you currently have. When you've just imagined not having your comfortable bed or your supportive partner, you return to the present reality with a renewed sense of thankfulness for them. Suddenly, the everyday comforts you take for granted shine a little brighter. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly for navigating city life's unpredictability, negative visualization readies you emotionally and mentally for a wider range of possible outcomes. Life will inevitably throw curveballs: the unexpected layoff, the sudden illness, the broken agreement. By having already visited these scenarios in your mind calmly, you're less likely to be completely blindsided or overwhelmed if something similar does occur. You've already considered how you might cope, which builds a form of preemptive resilience. So, the Stoic message here is profound. Do not be enslaved by the world and its unpredictable offerings. Instead, cultivate an inner freedom from it. Do not let external circumstances define your worth or your happiness. Define yourself by your character, your choices, and your responses. Do not let the chaotic world rob you of your inner peace. Actively create your own happiness from within, based on your virtues and your rational will. This is the path of the Stoic, the way of the mental hero who can walk through the city's storms with an unshakable inner calm. As in the original transcript, if you've made it to this point, understanding these deeper Stoic practices, you are truly demonstrating strength of mind. I know you'll find immense value in the habits still to come. Practice this nightly detachment. Consider what you cling to and gently, mentally rehearse its absence. You'll find it doesn't make life bleaker. It makes the present moment richer and your spirit far more robust. 5. Live with purpose. How Stoics stay focused in a distracted areas. Having explored how to review our days, face our mortality, learn from ancient wisdom, and detach from uncontrollable externals, we now arrive at the 5th crucial Stoic nightly habit. Focus on your purpose. This isn't about some vague, abstract notion you might ponder occasionally if you have a spare moment. For the Stoics, understanding and aligning with your purpose is a vital, noble, and intensely practical endeavor. It's the recognition that you have a unique role to play, a destiny to fulfill in your own way, a mission to accomplish, however grand or humble, and ultimately, a legacy to leave behind, not necessarily in monuments, but in the impact of your character and actions. The Stoics believed there is a spark of the divine, a fragment of the universal reason, the logos, within each of us. Your nightly task, then, is to consciously fan that spark into a flame that not only illuminates your own path, but also contributes light to the world around you. This is particularly resonant in our modern cities, which can often feel anonymous and overwhelming, places where it's easy to feel like a tiny, insignificant cog in a vast machine. Stoicism counters this by asserting your intrinsic value and your capacity for meaningful contribution. They understood that we are not here merely by chance, buffeted by random events. Instead, they saw human beings as integral parts of a larger, rational cosmic order, a concept they often referred to as providence. Within this grand design, each of us has a natural function, a duty to uphold the harmony and well-being of the whole. We are not meant to be passive spectators in life, idly watching the world go by from our city apartment windows. Nor are we meant to be isolated individuals, solely focused on our own narrow concerns. The Stoics emphasized our interconnectedness, our nature as social beings designed to live and work together. And crucially, we are not meant to be mere passive consumers, endlessly seeking gratification from external sources. Instead, we are called to be creative contributors, to use our unique talents and reason to add value to the human community. So, how do you translate this lofty-sounding ideal into a practical nightly habit, especially when you're tired after a long day of navigating, say, the tech scene in San Jose or the arts world in Philadelphia? The key Stoic practice here is prosoke, which translates roughly to attention or mindfulness. It's the art of being acutely aware and vigilant concerning your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. It's about bringing a conscious intentionality to how you live. Your nightly reflection on purpose, fueled by prosoke, involves asking yourself some deeply probing questions. What is my overarching purpose in life? What truly matters to me at the deepest level? This might not be something you can answer definitively in one night or even many. It's an ongoing inquiry. For some, it might be tied to their profession, like a doctor dedicated to healing, or a teacher committed to nurturing young minds. For others, it might be about raising a family with strong values, creating art that inspires, advocating for justice, or simply striving to be a person of exceptional kindness and integrity in all their interactions. Think of Elena, a community organizer in Detroit. Her nightly reflection on purpose constantly reconnects her to why she endures long hours and often frustrating bureaucratic hurdles. Her deep commitment to improving her neighborhood. Considering that purpose, what is the most excellent way for me to pursue it in my current circumstances? This brings the grand vision down to the practical realities of your daily life. If your purpose involves creativity, how can you carve out time for it amidst your work and family responsibilities? If it involves service, what specific actions can you take? What is the most urgent and important thing for me to do right now or tomorrow in service of that purpose? This is where prosoke really helps to cut through the clutter. In a city environment, we're bombarded with endless demands on our time and attention: emails, social media notifications, invitations, trivial tasks. A clear sense of purpose acts as a filter, helping you to discern what truly deserves your energy and what is merely a distraction. If Mark, the app developer in Chicago, has a purpose centered on creating tools that genuinely help people, he can more easily decide to spend an extra hour refining a key feature rather than getting lost in online forums. By engaging with these questions nightly, even for a short period, you begin to sharpen your vision of what a meaningful life looks like for you. You start to align your daily actions more consistently with your deepest values. You learn to prioritize your tasks not just based on external pressures or immediate gratification, but on their contribution to your overarching purpose. The result is a profound shift. You stop wasting precious time and energy on distractions, on things that ultimately don't matter in the grand scheme of your life, and instead you invest your resources in the essentials, in those activities and pursuits that move you closer to your chosen aims. You cease to drift aimlessly, carried along by the currents of city life, and begin to move with a clear, self-directed intention. This nightly focus on purpose also has a powerful effect on your resilience. When you're connected to a why that is bigger than your immediate comforts or discomforts, you become far more capable of enduring setbacks and overcoming obstacles. The inevitable frustrations of urban living, the crowded commutes, the high cost of living, the competitive job market, become less likely to derail you because they are contextualized within a larger, more meaningful narrative. Your purpose becomes your North Star, guiding you through an often confusing and distracting world. It provides an inner compass that helps you navigate the myriad choices you face each day, from how you spend your free time to the career path you pursue. to the kind of relationships you cultivate. Living with purpose, as cultivated through this nightly Stoic habit, is about transforming your existence from a series of accidental happenings into a deliberate and meaningful journey. It's about recognizing that, even amidst the concrete canyons and digital deluge of modern city life, you have the power to choose what you focus on and to direct your life towards aims that are both personally fulfilling and beneficial to the wider community. It's about building a life not of quiet desperation, but of quiet, focused, purposeful action. 6. Build unshakable willpower, the Stoic path to mastering yourself. What if I told you that within you lies the inherent power to sculpt your destiny, to surmount any obstacle that life throws your way, and to achieve any goal you set your mind to, provided it aligns with reason and virtue? This isn't motivational hyperbole. This is a core truth that the ancient Stoics not only knew but actively, rigorously practiced. They understood that the indispensable key to living a good life, a life of eudaimonia or human flourishing, is the cultivation and consistent application of self-discipline. As your 6th nightly Stoic habit, dedicating a few moments to reflect on and reinforce your self-discipline can be transformative. Self-discipline, in the Stoic sense, is far more than just forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. It's the highly refined ability to consciously control your impulses and emotions, rather than being controlled by them. It's the capacity to act in accordance with reason and your highest values, even when, especially when, it's difficult or uncomfortable. It's about consistently making the choice for what is right over what is merely easy, what is noble and virtuous over what is base and immediately gratifying, what is of lasting value over what is fleeting and superficial. Think of it as the internal rudder that allows you to steer your ship through the often turbulent waters of city life, rather than being tossed about by every passing wave of desire or aversion. For the Stoics, self-discipline also meant the ability to deliberately avoid excesses and vices, whether that's overindulgence in food or drink, wasting excessive time on mindless entertainment, succumbing to fits of anger, or wallowing in self-pity. Simultaneously, it involves the proactive cultivation of moderation and the cardinal virtues. Wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, which is very closely related to self-discipline itself. Consider someone like Ben, a financial analyst in New York City, constantly tempted by lavish corporate dinners and the pressure to keep up with expensive lifestyle trends. A nightly commitment to self-discipline helps Ben remember his long-term financial goals and his value of moderation, enabling him to make conscious choices that align with his Stoic principles rather than momentary impulses. A practical way to build this inner fortitude, as advocated by the Stoics, is to regularly challenge yourself to do something that is deliberately difficult or uncomfortable, something your lower self might resist. This doesn't have to be monumental. It could be as simple as committing to waking up 30 minutes earlier than usual to read or exercise, even when your warm bed in your chilly Chicago apartment feels incredibly inviting. It might mean choosing to take the stairs instead of the elevator at your office building. It could involve sticking to a healthy eating plan even when your colleagues are ordering pizza, or making the effort to reach out and help a neighbor or friend when you'd rather just relax after a long day. Or, for someone like Maya, a freelance writer in Portland who struggles with procrastination, it might mean dedicating the first hour of her evening to her most challenging writing project before allowing herself any leisure time. By intentionally and consistently engaging in these small acts of voluntary discomfort or effortful action, you are essentially training your willpower like a muscle. Each time you choose the harder right over the easier wrong, you strengthen your capacity for self-control. You begin to systematically overcome your ingrained weaknesses, whether they are tendencies towards laziness, procrastination, impatience, or indulgence. You also, often as a byproduct, improve your skills and capabilities. The early rising might lead to more knowledge, the exercise to better health, the healthy eating to more energy, the focused work to greater professional achievement. The cumulative effect of this nightly reflection on and daily practice of self-discipline is profound. You develop an inner resilience that allows you to face any situation, a sudden job loss, a difficult relationship conflict, a personal health challenge with greater courage, wisdom, and calmness. You're no longer a slave to your fleeting emotions or external pressures. Instead, you become more capable of responding thoughtfully and virtuously. You build what the Stoics called an inner citadel, a fortress of mental strength that cannot be easily breached by the chaos of the external world. This nightly habit, then, involves a few key components. First, it's a review, similar to the general day review, but specifically focused on your acts of self-discipline or lack thereof. Did you follow through on the commitments you made to yourself? Where did your resolve falter and why? What temptations were strongest? Again, this is not for self-flagellation, but for understanding. Second, it's a recommitment. Affirm your intention to practice self-discipline more diligently the following day. You might even identify one specific, small challenge you will set for yourself tomorrow as a way to exercise this virtue muscle. Think about the sheer amount of distraction and temptation available in any major American city. From the endless entertainment options to the constant marketing messages urging instant gratification, the forces working against self-discipline are immense. Without a conscious, nightly reinforcement of your commitment to self-mastery, it's incredibly easy to get swept away. But by making self-discipline a focal point of your evening routine, you are actively choosing to become the master of yourself, the deliberate author of your own story, rather than a passive character reacting to the script life hands you. This commitment to self-discipline is not about leading a life of joyless austerity. On the contrary, the Stoics believe that true, lasting happiness and contentment, eudaimonia, are the natural results of living a virtuous, disciplined life. It's the chaotic, undisciplined life, driven by fleeting passions and unexamined impulses, that ultimately leads to frustration and suffering. By mastering yourself, you free yourself to pursue what truly matters, to build a life of purpose and meaning. So, as you prepare for sleep, ask yourself, how did I exercise my self-discipline today? Where can I strengthen it tomorrow? This habit has the power to fundamentally transform your life, turning you from a passenger into the pilot of your own existence. Make it your nightly practice. Make it your way of life. It is through this disciplined path that you build an unshakable willpower, capable of navigating the complexities of your city and your life with grace and strength. 7. Stoic sleep and calm nightly ritual for rejuvenation. We've arrived at the 7th and final nightly habit of a Stoic, and while it might sound deceptively simple compared to meditating on mortality or cultivating iron self-discipline, don't let its apparent simplicity fool you. This habit, to relax deeply and sleep well, is absolutely crucial for your overall well-being and can, quite literally, make or break your success in applying all the other Stoic principles we've discussed. In the relentless grind of modern city life, where hustle culture is often glorified and sleep is frequently sacrificed, the Stoic wisdom on rest is more pertinent than ever. The Stoics, renowned for their resilience and mental fortitude, understood that true strength isn't about perpetual, non-stop action. They knew that relaxation and adequate sleep are not luxuries to be indulged in only when all work is done, which, in a city that never sleeps, might mean never. They are not frivolous distractions from more important pursuits, nor are they mere indulgences for the weak. On the contrary, the Stoics viewed proper rest and mental tranquility as profound necessities, as wise investments in one's physical and mental capital, and indeed as well-earned rewards for a day lived with intention and virtue. They recognized that genuine relaxation and restorative sleep are the body and mind's best mechanisms for recharging depleted batteries, restoring a sense of inner balance, and renewing the strength needed to face the next day's challenges with clarity and vigor. Think about how you feel after a night of poor sleep in your apartment, perhaps disturbed by city noises or a racing mind full of anxieties about your job in, say, the competitive finance sector of Charlotte. You're likely to be more irritable, less focused, more prone to emotional reactivity, and less capable of exercising sound judgment or self-control, all qualities antithetical to the Stoic ideal. Conversely, after a night of deep, peaceful sleep, you wake up feeling more centered, more capable, and better equipped to handle whatever the day throws your way. The Stoics had a specific term for the ideal state of mind that facilitates this kind of profound rest: ataraxia. Often translated as tranquility, imperturbability, or serenity, ataraxia is a state of lucid calmness, free from mental disturbance and emotional agitation. It's not a zoned-out, mindless state, but rather a peaceful awareness. Cultivating ataraxia before sleep is a key Stoic practice for ensuring not just that you fall asleep, but that your sleep is truly restorative. So, how can you practice achieving ataraxia as part of your nightly ritual, especially when the day's stresses from navigating downtown traffic or dealing with demanding clients are still buzzing in your system? Here are a few Stoic-inspired techniques. Deep, slow breathing. This is a foundational practice. As you lie in bed, consciously slow down your breathing. Inhale deeply through your nose, feeling your abdomen expand. Hold for a few counts, and then exhale slowly and completely through your mouth, releasing all the air. Focus entirely on the sensation of your breath. This simple act helps to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation and counteracts the body's stress response. Imagine each exhale carrying away a little bit of the day's tension. Letting go of tension and stress, actively scan your body for any areas of physical tension. Are your shoulders hunched up towards your ears from a stressful day at your desk in that San Francisco office tower? Is your jaw clenched? Consciously release these areas. You might gently tense and then release each muscle group from your toes up to your head, a technique known as progressive muscle relaxation. Mentally, try to release the worries and anxieties of the day. You've already reviewed your day. Habit 1. Now is the time to let those reflections settle and release the need to keep problem solving. Gentle stretching. A few simple stretches can release physical stiffness and pain, making it easier to relax. Nothing strenuous, just some gentle neck rolls, shoulder shrugs, or a gentle spinal twist can make a big difference, especially if you've been sitting or standing for long periods, a common reality for many city jobs. Meditate on your purpose or values. Briefly call to mind your core purpose, habit 5, or your most cherished Stoic values, like wisdom, courage, justice, temperance. This isn't about intense intellectual effort, but more about connecting with a sense of meaning and calm conviction. Reminding yourself of what truly matters can help to put smaller, day-to-day anxieties into perspective, fostering a sense of peace. Reflect on something good or express gratitude. Before you drift off, think of 1 or 2 things from your day, however small, for which you are genuinely grateful. It could be a kind word from a colleague, the taste of your dinner, or simply the comfort of your bed. This practice, similar to aspects of the daily review, shifts your focus towards the positive and cultivates a peaceful state of mind conducive to sleep. For instance, Keisha, a nurse in Atlanta, finds that focusing on one patient she helped or one moment of teamwork helps her transition from the high stress of her job to a calmer pre-sleep state. Hand over your worries. Some Stoics practiced a form of handing over their concerns to a higher power, providence, or the natural order of the universe before sleep. If you have a spiritual practice, this might involve prayer. If not, it can be a mental exercise of acknowledging your worries and then consciously deciding to release them for the night, trusting that you will be better equipped to deal with them after a period of rest. By incorporating these ataraxia-inducing practices into your nightly routine, you're not just passively hoping for good sleep, you are actively creating the conditions for it. You will find yourself able to relax your mind more effectively, release the physical tensions of your body more completely, and, as a result, sleep like a baby, or at least, much more soundly than before. And the payoff? When you wake up, you'll be genuinely ready to face the day. Not just physically rested, but mentally and emotionally reset. You'll approach your morning commute, your work challenges, and your interactions with others with renewed confidence, greater courage, and enhanced clarity. This final Stoic habit of relaxing and sleeping well is the essential capstone to your Stoic lifestyle. It's what allows all the other practices to take root and flourish, because a tired, stressed mind cannot effectively practice virtue or wisdom. So, don't neglect this crucial step. Don't underestimate its power, and certainly don't sacrifice it on the altar of just one more email or one more episode. Your well-being, your resilience, and your ability to live a Stoic life depend on it. Relax and sleep well, my friend. You've earned it and you deserve it. Become the Stoic in your place, your next steps to a stronger, calmer you. So, there you have them. 7 powerful Stoic nightly habits designed to transform your evenings from a period of passive recovery or lingering stress into an active launchpad for a more resilient, calm, and focused life. Right in the heart of your bustling city. We've journeyed through the wisdom of Seneca in reviewing your day to extract its lessons, faced the profound clarity of Memento Mori, delved into the timeless insights of Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers. Learned to detach from uncontrollable externals with negative visualization, reconnected with our guiding purpose through prosoc, strengthened our resolve with self-discipline, and finally, embrace the restorative peace of ataraxia for deep relaxation and sleep. Each of these habits, practiced consistently, acts like a carefully laid stone, building an inner citadel of strength and tranquility. Imagine yourself, whether you're navigating the crowded streets of New York, the sprawling freeways of Los Angeles, or the historic avenues of Boston, doing so with a newfound sense of composure and purpose. These aren't just ancient philosophical curiosities, they are practical, actionable tools. The Stoics believed that if you consistently apply these principles, you move steadily towards a life of virtue and genuine happiness, a life where you are less swayed by the chaotic and uncertain nature of the world and more anchored by your own inner compass. This isn't about achieving some mythical state of emotionless perfection, but about becoming a more rational, resilient, and virtuous human being, capable of flourishing even amidst pressure. But as with any wisdom, its true value lies not in merely knowing it, but in doing it. So, don't just take my word, or even the words of the ancient Stoics for it. I urge you to try these habits for yourself. Pick 1 or 2 that resonate most strongly with you right now and commit to practicing them for a week. See how they feel? Notice any shifts in your mindset, your stress levels, your focus, or your sleep quality. And as you embark on this journey, remember you're not alone. The Stoic Viva community is here to support you. If you found value in this exploration and you're ready to integrate more Stoic wisdom into your modern life, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps others find this content. Share it with friends, family, or colleagues who you think might benefit from these ancient strategies for navigating modern pressures. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. As a small act of Stoic commitment and to show you've made it through, comment, "I am resilient." Let that be your affirmation for today. If you're new here and hungry for more practical philosophy to build that stronger, calmer you, make sure you subscribe to Stoic Vivu and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our upcoming videos. We're dedicated to making Stoicism accessible and applicable to your daily challenges. Thank you so much for watching, for investing your time and attention. Remember, the power to change your life, to cultivate that inner peace and strength, truly lies within you. These Stoic habits are simply keys to unlock that potential. Start tonight. Be Stoic. I'll see you in the next video.